Great to be joined by a couple of members of Chip Ganassi Racing. One is the current points leader in the NTT IndyCar Series. He has 2 wins, coming off a 6th top 3 finish of the season at Mid-Ohio. He drives the number 10 NTT Data Honda. We say good morning and buenos dias to Alex Palou. And the
good
other
morning,
is a former,
everybody.
Yeah, the other is a former driver of the number 10 for Chip Ganassi Racing, 17-year career that saw him win 4 IndyCar Series championships, 3 victories in the Indianapolis 500 presented by Gainbridge. And earlier this morning, newly named the Grand Marshal of the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, which of course comes up Sunday, August 8th in the streets of Nashville. He gets to give the command that afternoon. That'll be a lot of fun. The one-time Tennessean and current advisor for Chip Ganassi Racing. Good morning to Dario Franchitti. Let's begin. Yeah, good morning. DF, we'll begin with you. Congratulations on the official role now at Nashville. How much are you looking forward to that inaugural race in a couple of weeks?
I think it's going to be phenomenal. I mean, we had some great races out on the oval for years out there in Nashville, but to bring it downtown, a lot of people have been trying for a long time to make it happen. But yeah, it's going to be really exciting. When Scott Borchetta called me, he said, "Hey, would you be the Grand Marshal?" So absolutely. I think it's terrific to do that, to bring IndyCar to Tennessee, to back to Nashville, downtown location. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, still got my job with Chip Ganassi Racing to do the weekend as well. So yeah, I'm excited to go to Nashville and excited to get the second half of the season going.
For sure. Again, Alex Palou joins us as well, sitting on a 39-point lead with 6 races remaining on the calendar. Now, Alex, how proud are you of the first half of the season you've been able to put together?
Yeah, it's been super fun joining Chip Ganassi Racing, and I think we had a good season so far. Been fighting for the races almost every weekend, I would say, and been having some good results. So yeah, it's been super fun working with Dario as well, and can't wait for these couple of races that we have. There's going to be like 3 tracks that I don't know yet, but it's going to be fun, challenging, and yeah, looking forward.
Then again, no one knows Nashville, so you got that. It's an even playing field going into
That's
that
true.
One of the many benefits of joining Chip's team, as you just talked about, is the ability to have Dario around, a mentor, a coach. How much has he helped you this season?
That's a benefit. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. A benefit, like he's like all the time telling me the bad stuff I'm doing. So now, to be honest, it's super good, like having somebody that's been so successful and that he's able to see what the drivers feel and also what the engineers need to know from the driver. That it's amazing having somebody up there. Like he's able to go to the corners, he's able to see the data and just tell me like, hey, this is the difference between Scott and you, or Marcus and you, or even Jimmy. So it's been super fun. It's been a big help, and yeah, I'm just learning a lot from all these guys.
Yeah. And a reminder, if you have a question, use the virtual raised hand function. One more for Dario first. And clearly you take a little ownership in the fact that Alex is leading the point standings, Dario.
I'd love to, but I think he's worked so hard, the whole 10-car team. They've really worked hard from the first race. You know, one of our first conversations, Alex and I was like, listen, man, you're now in a team that you can, you know, in the pit stops and the strategy, they're going to help you to win races, so you don't have to worry about, you know, driving 105% and you know, if you get in a position to win a race, etc., etc. And then of course he shows up in Barber and wins. I was like, okay, you got that message loud and clear straight away. So he's a fast learner. Obviously, we thought he was good when we signed him, that he's even better than that. He's a hard worker. And behind that very nice, polite exterior, he's as tough as just anything, man. His recovery in Indy after the crash, just watching the way he came back from that, he's impressive. And all of us at Chip Ganassi Racing are delighted that he's driving the number 10 car.
Well, let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Again, if you have a question, please raise your virtual hand. We'll begin with Nathan Brown from the Indianapolis Star. Good morning, Nathan.
Hey guys, thanks both of you for taking the time to join us this morning. First question is for Alex. Alex, this morning IndyCar and NBC announced an extension of their broadcast deal, and a part of that involves Telemundo Deportes showing the season opener, season finale, and Indy 500 races live in the future. I'm curious, as a native of Spain, what kind of impact you feel like that can do for Spanish speakers here in the United States?
Hey, Nathan. Yeah, I saw that. That's amazing for both Pato and I, and for all the Hispanic drivers. I think we're gonna get more people looking at the races. There's a lot of people that would be really interested. I think we saw that with Pato, especially because he has so many followers from Mexico, and I think giving more people the opportunity to watch the races live and the big races. I mean, everybody that, even if you're not super into racing, you want to see the first race, the 500 and the season finale. So I think it's a good combo to start. And I would love to see in the future, like to see that everybody is able to watch all the races. But it's a really good thing for me, and good thing for the sport, I think.
And then a couple questions for Dario. Dario, you touched a little bit on it already, just about the excitement that's around this upcoming Nashville street race. As a person who lived in the suburbs of Nashville for several years, what do you feel like this the city of Nashville brings to the table that makes it a really ideal place for IndyCar to bring its next potentially long-term street course race?
I think Nashville's changed a lot since I lived there. It's grown incredibly. When I was there earlier this year, I was shocked at everything, from the moment you get to the airport to just the suburbs going out. It's become a much bigger city, and it's got a big passion for cars. And so I think you tie those two together, it's become a destination as well. I mean, all kinds of weekend things from all over the world. People going, hey, we're going to go to Nashville for a week. We're going to go to Nashville for our bachelor party. We're going to, all that sort of stuff. So it's become that destination as well. And then when you tie in the music side of things, which I think, Scott Borchetta is able to do better than anybody, because he's a racing nut. And obviously he's got massive horsepower in the music business. When you tie those things together, it's just a win-win. I think it's going to be a tremendous event.
You were, in your driving career, were around when street races like Sao Paulo, Houston, Baltimore, made brief appearances on the schedule, but ultimately all fell off within the last decade or so. And we've been looking for where that next attempt for a new street race might come from. What do you remember about some of those races that fell off street race wise near the end of your career? And anything that you remember about maybe those race weekends or leading up to those race weekends, and why those venues and events might not have worked out long term?
Yeah, I don't remember too much about Houston, to be honest.
That's true.
When I first came to the series a long time ago, I don't know if Alex was actually born, but there's a Surfers Paradise, Long Beach, Toronto, Vancouver, these big events. They were events. They were 3-day. For us, they were obviously very serious, but for the fans, they were 3-day parties. There was always something going on and off the track, and I really think that that's something that Nashville will bring. You've got to have that, and it's got to be right close to downtown as well. So again, I think it's a great addition to the calendar, to IndyCar, and I think it will be it's a win-win.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nathan. From Nathan, let's go to Nate Ryan from NBC Sports. Morning, Nate.
Morning, Dave. Thanks. I have a couple for Dario, one for Alex. Dario, following up on the Nashville questions from Nathan there, the city and the area has enjoyed such a racing rebirth renaissance here, with NASCAR coming back with the Cup Series last month, and the SRX race this week, past weekend, and Music City Grand Prix coming up next month. When you lived there, were you aware that there was sort of this untapped potential? You talked about that it's grown a lot, but was that racing undercurrent? Did you feel that when you lived in Nashville?
Yeah, absolutely. You had the speedway out there, and that was that kind of thing. The good IndyCar date didn't race terribly well just because of maybe the shape of the track, but it was well supported. And it was kind of that thing, if they could just get a cup date, that would really lift the speedway out there. But I used to go to cars and coffee events all the time there, and you could see the passion for all types of cars and types of racing too. And so, yeah, it definitely was untapped. And like I say, the city's only grown, I mean, massively since I was there, pretty much a decade ago. So yeah, it's nice to see that that sort of untapped potential being realized. And I think this is, as I say, I think it's going to be a cracking event as in a race. But I think off track too, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on, which is, I think, equally as important to make for the longevity of the event.
Yeah, no doubt. As a driver, Dario, what do you think makes a great street course circuit? And presuming you've looked at Nashville, like what about this track do you think works well as a street course circuit?
Yeah, I think for me, bumps, multiple surfaces, all different types of corner. And I think those are some of the things. I think Nashville's got all of those. You don't want somewhere that's super smooth. I think part of the challenge is figuring out how to get over those bumps quickly, how to get around those different types of corners, the compromise that's involved in that. And, when we talk about that sort of thing, that's where my head goes into, not about entertainment and what's good for the event. That's about trying to win. And it's like, okay, this is what we need. This is what we need as a team, as Chip Ganassi Racing. So I almost shift gears a little bit from, okay, this is what's going to work for excitement level. I then become more interested in this is what's going to work for us to win.
What do you think of the bridge?
I think it's cool. I think it's nice to have a signature for a circuit, and that's definitely, I think, going to be Nashville's signature is that bridge.
Gotcha. And same questions for Alex. Alex, just as a driver, what do you like about street course racing? What makes a good street course race? What do you think Nashville provides? And also your thoughts on going over that bridge.
I think it's going to be a great event, as Dario said. Not only on track, but also looks like they're going to do lots of activities off track, which I think it's really important for the fans. And then about street courses, I think every street course is unique. I'm not really experienced on street courses yet, just because on junior series in Europe, you don't really race street courses. So I'm getting up to speed with that. But I don't know, you go to Detroit, you have those big bumps. You go to St. Pittsburgh, it's not so bumpy, but you have like really high speed corners and it makes it tough having the walls there. But I'm enjoying the street racing. I think it's a bit crazier than the road courses. You see different strategies always. You see there's a lot more yellows and there's a lot more things that doesn't go like smooth, which is good for the show. And about the bridge, I think it's gonna be cool. It's at the end of the day, it's just a straight over the water. It's going to be a bit bumpy just because of those connections. I don't know how you say, but the connections. It's going to be fun. It's a long straight for what I saw, and it's going to be challenging to get to the corner and be brave enough to brake super late and try overtake some cars. But I think it's going to be cool. It's going to be a nice track.
Joseph Newgarden joked that they're going to have divers just in case when you guys go over the bridge. Did you? I mean, I know that I'm sure that they've got it figured out. But did you have any concerns, or did you just wonder, like, hey, how are they going to handle fencing and everything to contain the cars?
And at the end of the day, it's the same as we didn't go to St. Pittsburgh or to Detroit thinking if we're going to jump so high or so bad that we're going to. I mean. Can happen, I guess so, right? But I don't know if that happens. I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's going to be a good show, but no, I don't think that's going to happen. And the tracks nowadays, they are super safe. I know in the past we saw some bigger crashes and some cars going over the fence, but nowadays look at the crash from Felix at Detroit. That was, I think, one of the biggest crash we saw lately, and he was okay. and the fence was okay as well. So I think they are really safe nowadays, and they think about everything. So it will be fine.
Great. Thanks to you both. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Nate. Alex, for you, I just got a note from our good friend Mike Zizzo, who's helping the folks out at the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and he notes that Nashville is the home and birthplace of hot fried chicken.
That's perfect. That's perfect. We know what we have to do then.
So Dario's nodding his head. Is that accurate?
Yeah, man, I could recommend a few joints too. So, Alex, if you win, I'll even buy you fried chicken.
You should. But yeah, we have to win first to be able to get some fried chicken. So first win, and then Darius gonna buy some fried chicken.
I like it. We're working out deals here this morning already. Let's continue
Cool.
on. More questions. Let's go to Bruce Martin from Speed Sport. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, everybody. First one's for Dario. When you heard there was going to be bridge on this race course, did you originally think you'd gotten the script of Driven?
You know, it's one of those things. It's a signature thing that everybody thinks about, but as Alex just said, as a driver, you don't even think about it. It's it's just part of you build a track downtown. You want to use this road, that road. Oh, there's a bridge there. Awesome. Okay, we'll do it. I mean, I've done it in Singapore with the F1 race forever. So, and I would try and distance IndyCar as much as possible from Driven, Bruce, as you know.
Yeah, but I couldn't resist that one. Hey, with all your involvement in Formula E throughout the years, and we all know that Alex competed in Formula E, were you involved in telling Chip, hey, this guy's really good, and he's a guy we need to get on this team sometime?
No, Alex, I think if I'm right in saying Alex tested in Formula E.
Yeah, I tested. I didn't race.
Didn't race, but so really it was Indy last year. I'd watched Alex in the early races, but at Indianapolis, it was the first race I'd been at in person last year, and I watched what was going on as I do in practice, and I thought, okay, he's pretty good. And I said to Mike Hull, actually, then Alex, I went up and I said hello to Alex in the paddock. I think he was walking out of Gasoline Alley, I was walking in, and I said, man, you're doing a great job, keep it up. And he said something like, I hope one day I do a good enough job that I could drive for Chip Ganassi Racing. And I spoke to Mike Hull and I said, Mike, this kid's really, really good, man. And he said, yeah, well, I think so too. And then, of course, Alex, I think the next day had said to Chip something and introduced himself to Chip. And so when the opportunity came up for somebody to go into the 10 car when Felix, when Felix decided to go to McLaren, it was like, oh yeah, he's our guy. So yeah, it was watching him at Indy and then watching what he did throughout the rest of the season that convinced me, but more importantly, convinced Chip and convinced Mike and the engineers.
So Alex is the leader of the standings. 6 races left. He's the guy sitting in the dunk tank, and everybody's throwing their best shot at him to try to get him, off the top. How do you teach that to a young driver of how to handle that pressure?
Well, I'm not going to tell you that, am I, Bruce? No, honestly, you can't teach that. You can help with experience and what works for you. I can help and say, okay, for me, this worked. But you've got to have that mental toughness, and Alex has got it. And so, we'll see every race how what we need to do going into it. But he knows we've already had discussions about championships and how you run for them. But he's got the mental toughness, and that's step one. And I'm not sure you can really teach that. You either, as Chip calls it, you're either a Sunday driver or you're not. And I think with Alex, we've got a Sunday driver.
And Alex, if I could ask you the same question, how do you learn how to handle the pressure of being in a championship?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's easier when you have a good team around you, and you can just focus on every session, each session, doing the best you can, and focusing on obviously getting as many points as possible. But I think at the end of the day, if you're having good races and you are able to fight for them and score podiums and score wins, you're going to fight for the championship, and you don't really have to think about anything else. You don't have to think about points or positions. Just because you're going so good, you don't have to think about that. And if you're not having the opportunity to fight for the races, you don't even have to think about points, because if you're not scoring points, you don't have to think about the championship. So I think it's quite easy to have a good mindset when everything's going good, like we have now. Like we're going to the weekends, we're trying the best we can. Like Mid Ohio was a weekend that was not super weekend for us, but we still managed to get a podium, which was good for the championship. But we were not thinking about the championship. We were thinking about maximizing the results on the race, and then it helped for the championship. So we'll keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully we can still score some more wins and more podiums.
And last question for Dario. Like you said earlier, somebody had asked about Baltimore and, some of the other street races that have come on the schedule. They all had a lot of high hopes and expectations. But do you think Nashville's got all the ingredients of becoming the next St. Pete, or maybe even the next Long Beach?
Yeah, I mean, those are big shoes to fill, or big races to follow. But yes, absolutely. You've got to look at the people that are involved in the organization of it and putting it together. And I really do think that. And I think the location is fabulous for that. So let's see what the race is like. I think it's going to be a good race. I mean, I'm back in the UK just now, and all I'm hearing at the moment is people saying, I cannot believe how incredible IndyCar is to watch this year, especially the battles, the different, the battles throughout the field, how much the drivers are hustling the cars. And these are from people that are used to watching Formula One. So I'm loving the good momentum that IndyCar's got. And I think this is another good step towards that.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks, Bruce.
We continue on. Let's go to Ben Johnston from the Paddock Eye. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Dave. How you doing? Excuse me. So I've got a couple of questions for Dario and for Alex. Hey, Dario. First of all, I love the car behind you. It looks awesome. But also, in terms of Nashville being a new track to everyone, how beneficial is it to the team to have 4 drivers in the lineup in terms of getting the setup for the street course, given that it's a brand new track?
Hi, Ben. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Having 4 drivers really, really helps, and 4 that work together so well. That's really a big bonus to gather information as quickly as possible and the limited practicing that you get. So I definitely feel good about that, and working with the guys on that. Whether it's Alex in his second year, Marcus with a bit more experience, Scott, who's been doing it for a long time and has won everything, has got so much experience in everything that he does in an IndyCar, including how he runs practice sessions. And then you've got Jimmy Johnson, his first year as an IndyCar driver, but think of the experience he brings and how he deals with new circuits as well. So yeah, I think that's going to be a help for us. Obviously, there's a lot of multi-car teams out there, so we've just got to figure it out better and faster than the others.
And how do you think Jimmy's getting on in terms of his transition from NASCAR to IndyCar this year?
He's doing really well. That the thing, he had a lot of spins, and that's because what was happening there is his bravery was going up during the tire run during a race as the tire grip was going down as they were, and those two were sort of going in opposite directions from each other. So that's why a lot of those spins happen. He's constantly pushing the limits, pushing himself, and his actual ultimate lap time now is right there. We just need to work on getting up to speed a bit more, and then what happens when the tires go off and how to continue to drive quickly. He's not only learning, he's trying to forget, 2 decades of how to drive a stock car. And as I found out when I went to drive a stock car, what works in an Indy car doesn't work in a stock car, and vice versa. So he's got a very difficult job, but he's made massive progress, and I think he's going to continue. Obviously, he's going to continue to get better and to start scoring more and more better results.
Yeah, and in terms of that, have you guys kind of compared notes in a way? Kind of you going to stock car and then him coming across to IndyCar. Kind of, it's very similar, right?
Every week. We've actually had a week. We haven't spoken for about a week. He's up in the mountains of Colorado. He's getting away
Oh
from
my
it a little
God.
bit, but otherwise it's it's every day. It's we've now got Scott Pruitt on board as well. Scott's the voice in Jimmy's ear now with the strategy, and he's working with him one on one. But still, it's every day, every couple of days, and he wants knowledge. He just wants to learn all the time and push himself. So he's a special individual. As a friend, he's a great guy, but as a competitor, he's a special individual to have in a race team.
Excellent. Well, great to talk to you, Dario. Thanks very much. And for Alex,
Cheers.
How excited are you to be heading to Nashville? With it being a new track, but also how are you going to go about trying to defend your lead in the championship?
Yeah, super excited. The event looks amazing. As I said, it looks like we're gonna have lots of activities, not only for the drivers but for everybody. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the race. I think it's good also that it's a new track for me, but it's a new track for everybody. Like this year, I've been going to the new tracks for me, but it was like known tracks for everybody, and I was like, oh man, I need another session. So here we'll be all on even circumstances, and I think it's going to be great. And about defending the championship, as I said, we'll try to maximize results. If we can have a shot to win, we'll try and get some more wins. We need to win some more. I don't think nobody won a championship only winning 2 races, so we need to win some more races and score some more podiums. But I'm looking forward to the races we have now. I think we have really good tracks with Nashville. I'm really looking forward to Laguna, even if I've never been. I've been there on testing, but I never raced there. But Long Beach as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the end of the season.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much, and best of luck for the upcoming race in Nashville. Thanks very much, Dave.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Let's go on to Fernando A. Alonso from Motor LAT. Morning.
Hello, Dave. Thank you. Dario, I want to ask you, what are the actions that you do with Alex in order to improve his skills?
I'm not sure I improve his skills. I think Alex would have a better, from his side, what I do there. I think I try and help focus maybe the direction sometimes that he's going, and pick out some of the areas to try and improve, whether it's the car or maybe a little different technique at a corner, that kind of thing. Just help with his inexperience in certain areas, help to shortcut that, I would say. But also sometimes, even Scott, as successful as Scott's been, even sometimes there's things I maybe see and I would make a suggestion. Have you tried this? Have you thought about that? So it's not a case of telling Alex what to do. I think with all the drivers I worked with, you make suggestions. It's like, have you thought about this? Have you tried that? And that could be a driving technique. It could be a setup change. It could be a mental thing of, some drivers maybe sometimes struggle mentally with getting the best performance, whatever. But each driver's different. Each week's a little bit different, and that's part of the excitement, I guess, of the job.
And one of the things that we saw on broadcasting was that time in qualifying when Alex is a kind of joking like, yeah, it's okay, B6. And we hear you say like, no, it's not okay. Is that kind of putting him in a perfect man direction?
Yeah, maybe sometimes. Sometimes it's I keep giving him a hard time. Sometimes he say, yeah, the car feels pretty good. I'm like, no, what's wrong with the car? How do we make it better? Good's not going to make us faster. And he's such a positive person. That's his automatic mindset is. But there's also times he'll come in and say, yeah, the car's pretty good. Just I need to think about how to drive the perfect lap, or I need to do a better job here, but the car's good. And he's getting more and more confident with that, with himself, with what he needs to do. And it's really cool to watch when in this new job of mine, when I watch someone of his talent and his ability and his mental strength, just watching how he deals with stuff, Very cool.
Okay, and Alex, en español, podemos aprovechar la oportunidad para que nos cuentes un poco lo mal que te trata Darío o qué mal lo haces pasar tú a él. Cuéntanos un poco cómo va esta relación.
No, la verdad que es súper bien. Para mí es muy especial poder trabajar mano a mano con una persona como Dario, un campeón y con tanta experiencia, no solo en IndyCar, pero ha estado durante muchos años en otras categorías y de piloto, de coach. Así que tiene visiones diferentes o un punto de vista diferente al que tiene el piloto o al que tiene el ingeniero o al que tiene el team manager. Así que está como que puede ver un poco más allá de lo que vemos todos. Y aparte de lo de intentar mejorarme a mí como piloto, que obviamente es una gran ayuda, pues tiene la manera de ayudarme a comunicar al 100% con los ingenieros, de sacar ese extra que le falta al coche o que me falta a mí. Así que nos lleva un poco al límite a todos, que es lo que creo que hace falta para ganar carreras o para ir rápido. No falta con ser bueno o tener un coche bueno, tiene que estar todo perfecto y tiene que ser todo lo mejor. Así que es la pieza que falta para empujarnos.
Y de repente sí lo haces batallar un poco.
Bueno, no, la verdad que siempre súper bien. Yo creo su personalidad, como podéis ver en la entrevista, es una persona muy, muy abierta, es muy sincera y lo único que quiere es ayudar. Así que no, nunca hemos batallado. Yo también tengo plena confianza en él, así que a mí si me dice que este polo es de color rojo, aunque yo lo vea azul, yo me lo voy a creer. Así que nunca le voy a decir que no es verdad. Voy a ver la manera en por qué ve este polo de color rojo y creo que esa es la mentalidad que está funcionando y a mí me ayuda, ¿no? Tener a alguien con que confíe tanto que me empuje.
Gracias. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dario.
Thank you.
Gracias, Fernando. We're keeping an eye on the time. We've got about 10 minutes remaining. Let's go to Carlos Miguel. Hi, Carlos.
Hi, Dave. Thank you very much. Hola, Alex. Qué bueno verte ahí, líder, 2 victorias. Por suerte ya ves que no aparece nadie por detrás como antes. Bueno, lo que te decía, que realmente quedan 6 carreras, son 39 puntos. Siempre me dices que no hay que usar la calculadora, pero al menos podrías permitirte un error, ¿no? Es decir, que eso te da cierta tranquilidad.
A ver, poder permitírtelo te lo puedes permitir siempre, pero no, la verdad que no nos lo podemos permitir. Yo creo que hemos hecho algún error ya en alguna de las carreras, así que no nos podemos permitir ningún error. Queremos tomarnos cada fin de semana como si fuera el último y sacar el 100%, porque esto al final 2 puntos aquí, 2 puntos allá, es lo que te va a dar el campeonato al final de la temporada, así que tenemos que maximizar los resultados cada fin de semana. No sabes lo que va a pasar al siguiente, así que vamos a intentar ir a por todas. La calculadora está bien, pero si ganamos no hace falta la calculadora. No hace falta que pienses, oye, ¿a cuántos puntos? No, tú ganas, no te tienes que preocupar. Todo lo demás se va a poner en posición. Así que obviamente no se pueden ganar 6 carreras seguidas en IndyCar. Bueno, a lo mejor sí, pero creo que nadie lo ha hecho. Vamos a intentarlo, pero tenemos que ganar carreras y seguir haciendo podios y seguir estando ahí arriba.
A ver, te ha bendecido Fernando Alonso. Dice que eres el más regular y que cree que vas a ganar. No sé si eso también te da ánimos.
Está claro que cuanta más gente confía, yo creo que al principio de temporada la gente no sabía, bueno, ha ganado una carrera, pero veamos más a partir de las 5, 6, 10 carreras, yo creo que ahora la gente confía más y obviamente si es alguien como Fernando, pues siempre ayuda un montón. Así que sí, da confianza, quiere decir que está siguiendo la IndyCar, que nos apoya y vamos a intentarlo. No va a ser nada fácil, aún queda bastante campeonato, pero vamos a ir a por ello, que como él ha dicho, yo creo que hemos sido muy regulares y que tenemos la capacidad de algún fin de semana pues dar un plus, intentar ir a por las carreras y lo continuaremos haciendo.
Estaba viendo Nashville, yo creo que es bueno, ¿no? Porque al ser nuevo para todos, los pilotos más expertos no pueden usar su experiencia con un piloto que al fin y al cabo llevas 2 temporadas en Indy, ¿no? Yo
Sí,
creo que puede ser incentivo.
sí, eso está claro, que si te enfrentas en un circuito, sea oval o sea urbano, pero estás corriendo contra alguien que lleva 10 carreras ahí, no es lo mismo que si tú llevas una o no llevas ninguna. Así que para nosotros va súper bien, todo el mundo parte desde cero. Y bueno, nadie sabe, ¿no? A lo mejor llegamos ahí y dominamos, o a lo mejor vamos ahí y sufrimos. Y yo creo que todo el mundo está en esa mentalidad donde, bueno, no sabemos qué va a pasar, no sabemos si el setup tiene que ser súper agresivo, súper más para curvas lentas, no sabemos. Lo único que sabemos es cómo aproximadamente cómo será el circuito, pero hasta que no pones el coche en pista no sabemos.
Voy a terminar ya con 2 cositas rápidas. Una, esto de las vacaciones en Estados Unidos, ¿qué tal? ¿Bien? ¿Te lo has pasado bien? ¿Te lo estás pasando bien? ¿O estás echando de menos el Mediterráneo un poquito?
Hombre, obviamente siempre se echa de menos casa, más que nada por la familia, pero la verdad que no estamos, estoy de vacaciones de carreras, pero no estoy de vacaciones. Estoy casi cada día en la fábrica con el equipo preparando, analizando cosas que han pasado hasta ahora y donde podemos mejorar. Así que son unas vacaciones solo de carreras, no de trabajo.
Bueno, la última. Algo has dicho en tu canal de Twitch. ¿Cómo ves la acción tan polémica de este domingo, aunque salga un poco a indicar, pero está en todo habla todo el mundo de ello, entre Hamilton y Verstappen, que fue sancionado Hamilton?
Sí, a ver, yo ya lo dije en mi Twitch, yo creo que pueden haber muchos puntos de vista, desde el mío, desde el piloto que soy y fan también. Creo que Hamilton tenía que ir a por intentar lucharle esa carrera, intentar meterse ahí. Era muy arriesgado, sí, se pasó, sí, pero tenía que intentarlo. En ningún momento creo que quería echar a Max y Max tampoco tenía que dejar pasarlo. Así que cuando pasan esas cosas donde nadie ha hecho una locura, yo creo que es un incidente de carrera. Obviamente estoy contento de que Max saliera ileso, que fue un accidente brutal, pero bueno, en mi opinión, incidente de carrera, y creo que es lo bonito de las carreras, que haya luchas y haya a veces toques entre los mejores. Por eso estamos hablando hoy de la carrera, si no, no hablaríamos de ella.
Muy bien, pues muchas gracias y suerte para Nashville, con la música. Llévate la guitarra y eso. Venga, gracias. Thanks, Dave.
All right, Carlos. Time for one, maybe two. If we can move through it quickly, let's go on to David Mollisher from motorsport.com. Hey, David.
Hey there. Good to see you both. I obviously in the British Grand Prix we saw 2 championship leaders clash, and I think it's safe to say that Hamilton wouldn't have attempted that maneuver on Verstappen if he wasn't if Verstappen wasn't the championship leader. Obviously, Alex, you are now the target, the man with the target on his back, because everyone's trying to beat you. Are you expecting any hard fights such as that? And what would you do in, say, Verstappen circumstances if you saw your primary championship challenger coming up on your inside?
I think, man, IndyCar, it's always like that. And even Mid-Ohio, or every race, we touch with other guys. All the overtakes are like on the limit, and you are always like, hey, man, like this guy has something on me. But no, it's the racing in IndyCar is like that. And I think it's the beauty of this championship as well, and these cars that allows you to have some contact. Do I expect some drivers to be more aggressive on me? I don't think so. Maybe the guys we're fighting more, like let's say Pato, Joseph, Scott, Marcus, but man, I think everybody fights super hard with each other here in IndyCar. And I in Road America with Newgarden, we were not even knowing how we were on the championship, let's say, and we were fighting super hard, touching wheel to wheel, and he was not being super hard on me, I was not being super hard on him, and I wouldn't change my mindset on him now. Maybe he would be more aggressive on me now, but I don't know. I think here in IndyCar, for sure, when you say that Hamilton went on that aggressive move, having only a little bit of space. For sure, it was because it was Verstappen. I think if it was another guy, that wouldn't have happened, just because you are fighting for the championship. So I expect things like that to happen. But what would I do if I was Verstappen? I don't know. For sure, I wouldn't take it easy on Hamilton. Just why? And if I was Hamilton, I would have gone for it. So, in my opinion, they both did what I would do on their places. So maybe, obviously, now that you see the consequences, you are Verstappen and you say, okay, just pass, but you cannot let somebody pass on racing. So,
no. Dario, what would be your take? How would you advise Alex in that situation if, like, a Joseph or a Pato came flying up his inside, trying to make room?
Well, the problem is you've got to make decisions in the blink of an eye, and so the driver's got to make that decision again. It's not something you can teach. You've got the instinct's got to be there for that. And I think Alex is right. He's going to race people the way he's raced them all season. Don't forget what got him here. That would be some of the advice I'd give him. This is what got you here, driving this certain way. Not being crazy aggressive, keeping a good balance at all times. I think he's really done that. So just continue to race the way you have, and it's worked so far. Yeah,
obviously, as a 4-time champion, it's safe to say you knew exactly when to push and when to just say, okay, today's a 3rd place day, today's a 2nd place day. Is that something that was instilled in you before you arrived at Ganassi? Because obviously Chips, that guy that always says, if you can't finish first, finish second. If you can't finish second, finish third. But that just seemed to fit with you as well.
Yeah, I certainly learned throughout my career. I certainly learned there was times, especially when I first came to IndyCar, and that was part of my advice to Alex that I talked about earlier in the call, was there was times when I had a 3rd place car and I pushed on the last lap for a 2nd place car and crashed. So, our 2nd place result. And so I think it's something I learned from making mistakes, knowing when to go. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Yeah.
And that was definitely, I think I learned that with experience.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Look forward to seeing you.
Thanks, David. Cheers.
Thanks, David. I apologize ahead of time. We're not going to be able to get to everybody here this morning. Let's go quickly. Jefferson Kern from TV Cultura.
Hey, Alex, there's a kind of philosophy that says to be the crazy man, you have to be crazier than he is. This year, to beat Scott Dixon, are you being more Dixon than Dixon himself? And another question, you're going to meet Helio Castroneves in Nashville. Are you thinking of trying to have dinner with him again to see if he finally tells you the secrets about Indianapolis? Hughes from Brazil, thank you so much.
I'm trying to learn as much as possible from the best guy we have now in the series, my teammate Scott. He's as Dario said, he's the best at free practices. He's the best at qualifying. He's really good on the races. So trying to learn as much as possible from him. Still a long way to go.
Alex, can I interrupt there? Can I interrupt? One thing Alex does is he comes into the truck and he says to Scott, come here. How do you do that? And he's dead straight up. There's no he's trying to get information by stealth. He just asks him straight out, and he's really good at it. Sorry, Alex. That's my interruption.
It's okay. Yeah, and the good thing is that Scott, he's always answering. So if I have any doubt on what's the best way to save some fuel at Mid-Ohio, he's gonna say, hey, this is how I do it, and this is what I'm gonna do on the race. So he's been a really good help for me this year. And about Helio, no, I'm not gonna have dinner with him. I have no issues with him, but I'm gonna concentrate on Nashville. I already reviewed, I don't know how many times the race. I know what I'm gonna do next time I'm in that position. And I'm okay with Helio, but I'm not gonna ask him what he did or the secrets.
Dario, can you tell us if when you left some kind of curse on car number 10 and how Alex is managing to end it?
It's great to see the 10 car having the success again. It's a lot of the same crew that was there when we won our last championship in 2011 and our last 500 in 2012. So it's nice to see them having that success again, to see the smiles on their face. It's been a tough time, I think for a lot of the guys, it was, whether Tony or Felix, it was tough to go up against Scott. And I think, because again, I know how difficult it is to go up against Scott. And I think that's one thing that I think Alex has done a tremendous job this year with that. And we haven't really talked about Marcus either. I mean, Marcus has done a phenomenal job winning his first IndyCar race. He almost won again in Mid-Ohio. So he's doing a phenomenal job. So it's nice to see all the cars getting results.
Thank you so much, guys. Great to talk to you.
Thank you. Our apologies, Tomas. Sorry, Rico. Our apologies here. We're going to wrap things up, though, just for you, Alex, with Asher Ferris, Asher's Racing Channel, so you guys can connect her this morning. Go ahead, Asher.
Hey, Alex. Notice the hat.
That's a really nice hat. Thank you, man.
Yeah, you know that hat.
Yeah.
So before Nashville, I saw that you are getting ready to test in Portland in about 10 days. So how are you preparing to test at Portland?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to get back in the car. It's been a long wait. And Portland, it's a track I don't know. So the test is going to be to learn the track and also to prepare for Nashville and the last couple of races. We don't really get that much testing nowadays in IndyCar. So when we get one day, it's just amazing for the driver and for the team. It's more for the driver, because the engineers, they get so excited that they have like a day of testing, that they come up with like this long list of testing, and you are like, hey guys, like we only have one day and only like 4 or 5 sets of tires, so we cannot test that. So it's gonna be super interesting. But yeah, I'm just preparing with some videos about Portland from the past, just because I've never been there, and preparing with some ideas to push the engineers and get even faster cars for the end of the season.
All right. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Asher.
Asher.
Thanks.
Great stuff from everyone. I apologize we weren't able to get to everybody here this morning. We're going to leave it there for now, though. Our thanks to both Alex Palou and Dario. You can now hop in the car behind you and test drive that the rest of the day. So enjoy that.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
A friendly reminder, the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix comes up Sunday, August 8th. Coverage begins at 5:30 Eastern that day on NBCSN, along with the IndyCar Radio Network. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Cheers, Dave.
Thanks.